Okay, welcome everybody to another Real Talk podcast. This is where we bring you inspiring, motivating, and empowering content to take your life to the next level. Now, every week we want to deal with real issues that are, concerning real people who are looking for a real solution, not tomorrow, but today. Now, one of the things that we do every month, I'm a real advocate of reading, and I love what I heard someone, TD Jakes, I'm not saying that this was his line, but he says, leaders read. And I truly believe that our mind is desperate for knowledge, it's desperate to grow, and I think you got to keep on feeding it good stuff. So I want to bring you like books that I'm reading, give you a little breakdown of what the book means, and give you some snippets from that. One, to inspire you to go and read the book yourself, but also to go away and say, actually, I'm going to take an action that Denzil's just talked about on his podcast and implement it into my own life. So the first book that I'm going to talk about, I say the first, but we're only going to do one today. I want to read you this book that was actually given to me. Okay, for those on GenhopeTV on YouTube, you can obviously see the picture. For those who are listening on podcast, this book is from a gentleman called Brian Houston, and the book called There Is More. When the world says you can't, God says you can. Now, this book was given to me for free, so I was blessed. I went to a recent Hillsong conference at Wembley Arena, absolutely packed out, totally blew my mind away what was achieved. And I got this book, got home, read the book, devoured it, So I've actually read this book a couple of months ago. I've read a couple of books since then, but I wanted to bring this one back to you. And, the title of the book, There Is More. Now, I know a lot of you who are living life right now will say to yourself, I know there's more. You're sitting in your job and you're saying, I know there's more. You're sitting in your marriage and you know that the marriage could be more. You're sitting looking at your finances and you're saying there's got to be more. And you're looking at your whole life saying to yourself, there's got to be more. And that's why I really resonated with this book, because I knew inside of me there was more. Like, I achieved quite a lot and I was impressed with what God has done, but I knew this wasn't enough. I knew there was more, and I wasn't saying I wasn't content. And I want you to be aware of that. Contentment is not saying that you're unhappy with what you've got. Contentment is saying that I'm pleased with where I'm at, and if I don't get any more, that's great. And if I was to lose it, I'm great. But when you're content, that's different. But then you also know inside of you there's this burning vision of what you believe God wants to do in you. And I had that. And when I read this book, There Is More, it just resonated with me. I just understood that God wanted to birth something in me and release something in me that's been, bubbling away for years now. Yes, I've had this success, but I knew there was more. And I was content with what I had. This wasn't me being greedy to get more stuff. I just wanted to fulfill the vision that was in my heart. Now, some of you, it's not just always about having successful careers and money and a house and all those things. Sometimes it's like there's more than just being addicted to pornography. There may be more than being addicted to drugs and having to get high. There's more to life than these things. This is what, and when the world says that you can't get out, and the world's saying that you'll never have all these things, well, God's saying you can. God is saying that you can, and that's what this book's about. So one of the things I like to do on these book reviews is actually to read just some little extracts. I can get my words out today, I apologize, from the book, so you can hear what the author is saying firsthand. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read from chapter 1 or page 1, the introduction, and it reads this: Please, sir, I want some more. These famous words of a starving Oliver Twist have undoubtedly echoed in the hearts and minds of millions of people who also long to have just a little bit more. Perhaps long for more time, more resources, more space. Maybe you simply need to find a bit more energy and more motivation to continue along the path that you currently find yourself on. Or maybe you have a dream in your heart that continues to invade you. Maybe you're walking in your calling but still find yourself asking, what is this all about? Should I be doing more with my life? I'm going to also read from page 2, and he reads this: You see, the more that God wants for your life is beyond comprehension. It's not limited to space and time, not able to be measured with earthly devices or human minds. The scripture Ephesians 3, chapter 3, verse 20 to 21 tells us plainly, God can do anything, far more than you can ever imagine or guess or request in your wildest dreams. He does it not by pushing us around, by working within us. His spirit deeply and gently within us. This is coming from the Message version. Another translation of the same scriptures puts it this way. He can do above and beyond, or exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. Have you ever stopped to think about that? God can do anything, and not just a little bit more than you have already asked for or dreamed, but far more. What's your wildest dreams, your craziest ideas, your deepest longings, and your grandest plans? The things that you don't tell anybody and barely allow your soul to imagine. Because it's exactly that dream, that vision, those grand plans of yours that I'm telling you aren't enough. What a small thinker you are. All of heaven is looking down upon you, shaking their heads and saying, is that all? Is that all you want? Is that all she can dream of? Allow me to stretch your thinking here. Be a reader, because we serve the ultimate big thinker. No plans of yours even compared to his. Your heart's cry for more has been answered with a chuckle and a grin from a father's heart that takes what you see and expands it into something you cannot see. So that was page 1 and 2. And I think, in that already, I want you to understand that there is more. That we serve a God. There is a God out there that says, why are you thinking so small? There is so much more that you can do. So much more that you can do. And you're limiting yourselves by your small little visions. Now here's something that I always remind myself whenever I'm thinking, am I dreaming too big? And especially in business, what I would do, I'd sit with a team and I'd say, look guys, I've got this idea, and I'd get the head of marketing, I'd get the head of technical, I'd talk to the shareholders, and I'm like, I know this sounds like a crazy idea, but this is the idea that I think we need to do with the business. And whenever I could see their faces like, here he goes, I'd say this one phrase. I said, is whatever I'm saying to you harder than it was to put a man on the moon? And no one has ever been able to say for any one of my dreams that it was easier to do what you're asking, Denzil, than to put a man on the moon. So whenever I say that, it makes me realize actually what I'm saying is not difficult. Building GenHope TV to be one of the #1 TV channels out there. I'm putting it out there. It's a big dream. As I stand right now, you have a couple of subscribers. One of your videos goes to 10,000. You're like, hey, but that's not worldwide global success. But I know it can be done. And it starts with a dream. It starts with a dream. So the question I ask you from that page is, what's your vision? What's that thing that is just making you so excited that you think, wow, there is more? What is your vision? Now, I want you to understand, for those people going back to the book, Brian Houston, let me just tell you about Hillsong Church. In a population that says that more churches now have less and less in attendance, it's not crazy to think to yourself to walk into a church on a Sunday and see 5 people in the congregation, and that hurts me. I'm a Christian, okay, but that's just a raw fact that church numbers are dwindling. But this guy had a vision, and he wanted to build this incredible church. Now Hillsong has 100,000. Hear me now, 100,000 people in attendance every Sunday in campuses all over the world, in 80 affiliated churches. 80 affiliated churches. This guy came from New Zealand, the land of sheep. What was there? Okay, and he's gone on to build a worldwide church. Now understand, in London alone, at the Dominion Theatre on the top of New Street, I'm talking about Birmingham now, sorry about that, got my locations mixed up. Okay, I'm a Birmingham lad, but on the top of Oxford Street, the Dominion Theatre that holds 2,000 people, 2,068 to be precise. 4 services. I went to the 6 o'clock service a couple of weeks ago, packed. You could not get a seat. Church on a Sunday at 6 o'clock, middle of London. Can you believe this guy had a crazy vision? Now let me just read page 3 for you. And he says this. This is Brian. He says, for many years, while standing in one of our Hillsong Church auditoriums or by the side of the stage at one of our annual conferences, people have asked me, could you see all this when you started? I've always been a determined visionary, but in my wildest dreams, I could not have imagined all that God has done and is doing. I couldn't have planned it, executed, or dreamed of the days we're living in now. And I've stopped trying to. You can never out-dream God. I've learned to trust God with the secret desires of my heart, the things I don't know that I need, and the things I thought I didn't need. Understand this. This guy started off with a vision. And God says, okay, well, you're a big dreamer. Okay, good. Well, you want to have an amazing church, young people thriving, young people loving it, serving. You want different communities, white, black, Asians, all in the same church. Love that, love that. He says, I'm going to blow it up. 100,000 people in attendance every Sunday. This guy packed out the Wembley Stadium. Churches coming together. He's got recording #1 albums come out from Hillsong Worship. This guy is exploded. Why? Because he started off with a dream. Now, here's a question I'm going to ask you. Do you have a God-sized dream? Now, what does that mean? Well, let's read page 10. Let's read page 10. Because this is not about me. This is about the book. So we're going to read. You can hear the pages turning. How beautiful is that? Okay, so we're going to read from page 10, and it reads this. Have you ever heard the saying, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time? Well, in the same way, if you aim at a target, you might not hit the bullseye, but at least you get as close as you can. Even if your dreams become only 80% real, it's still better than nothing at all. The truth is, you should shoot for the moon. God gave you the ability to dream, to create, and to imagine endless possibilities. In many ways, dreaming is just like faith. And the size of your dream can be in direct correlation to the belief in what God can achieve. In my opinion, if you're dreaming about something that you can do on your own, you're dreaming too small. God-sized dreams are dreams that can only be done when you put your faith in the Creator and the one who knows the beginning from the end and who desires your future to be filled with hope and abundance. The question I ask you, is your dream a God-sized dream? One that, listen, I knew the reason I had to take this leap of faith, let me just tell you my own story. The reason I had to take this leap of faith and leave the corporate world and go all in on this business idea, because I knew what it was to earn 50,000. I knew what it is to earn 60,000. I knew what it is to get to 80. And I knew that. And it didn't require faith anymore. It was just my skill set. And when I started, it required faith. But God again gave me the wisdom that my character jumped up to my faith. Now God's like, now I need to extend your faith. And I had to take this leap of faith and believing that this was going to be a worldwide phenomenon, that we were going to help thousands and inspire millions of people with hope who had no hope. That was the vision. So the question I ask you, do you have a God-sized vision that's going to take a little bit more than just your effort? That you're going to have to walk by faith. That you don't always going to have the answers, but you're going to have to walk by faith. Let's read. I wanted to read this. I'm going to read page 17. Let me turn the pages. Once again, very romantic. He says, I don't know about you, but I don't want to just live on a dream I had way back in the past. I want to keep on dreaming new dreams. Being a dreamer isn't about past tense. It's an ongoing part of life. Just like Joseph of old, dreamers never stop dreaming. Now, some of you may say, well, I'm 40, I've got no big dreams, that's with them young kids. No, you're never meant to stop dreaming. At 80, you're meant to have big dreams. If you're 80 years old, what's your big dream for your grandchildren? What's your big dream for the next generation? You should always be dreaming. What's your God-like dream? That's the thing that's going to get you excited. That's the thing that's going to wake you up, okay? What is your dreams? What is your dreams today? What is your God-like dreams? Now, I'm going to show you a way to make sure that your dreams do happen. Page 18, it reads this. Being around other dreamers is a catalyst for dreaming bigger. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish or cast off restraint. The New Living Translation says this, run wild. What does it say? If you don't have a big dream, my friends, if you don't have a big dream, you're dead. You perish. And a lot of you are, you're like the walking zombies because you don't have a dream. What's your big God-given dream? What is that today? Now, I'm going to move on to another part in the book. And I'm going to say this, it's faith. You just need faith. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to have faith. Now, I was listening to a podcast the other day, a gentleman called Jeff, and he's married this guy is amazing. This guy, I forgot his surname, so forgive me. I'll put it on the podcast, I'll put it in the notes. But this guy has created multiple successful businesses. This guy created an airline business, sold it to Warren Buffett. This guy created a water business, sold it to Coca-Cola. This guy has run 100 miles in one day. This guy is a phenom, okay? And I was listening to his podcast, and he said one thing. He says, whenever I started his industry, this is a white guy, he set up a record label, had some of the top artists on there. You know, this guy said, I didn't know anything about hip-hop. I created a hip-hop business. I didn't know anything about jets. I set up a jet business. I didn't know anything about, the water business. I set up a water business. This guy says, I just had a leap of faith and I just did it. Because sometimes when you don't know what to do, you're the one who's there to disrupt the market. A lot of you are saying to yourself, like, I'd love to go for my big dreams, but I just don't have all the knowledge. You're not meant to have all the knowledge. You're meant to have faith. If there's something inside of you, okay, that's God saying to you, you already have what you need. Now you just need to take a step of faith. Now I want to read page 31. Page 31. Let me turn over these beautiful pages. I feel like Shakespeare right now. Okay, page 31, it reads this. Too often I think we long to know what is next. We'd like God to reveal the future to us in the smallest of details, like at 5 o'clock on Saturday, a guy will walk up to you on the street and bump into you. You won't think much of him at first, but stay with me, he's the one. Or, you know that job that you went for last week? Don't take it. A week from now, a better one is going to be offered to you if you just wait. But why would we need faith if that was the case? Why would we need to trust in God if we knew what was happening next? This is the thing I want to say to you. Too many of you are waiting for the detail. And because you're waiting for the detail, you've now sacrificed walking in faith. Do you know every business? Now, I know a lot of you won't maybe be of faith listening to this podcast, and you don't have to, okay? But understand, every great business was built on faith. Every successful thing that's ever happened in the world, good or bad, was started by faith. Someone having the belief that what they were going to do was going to happen. They could see it from the end at the beginning. Even though it wasn't manifested in the physical, they could see it in the spiritual. And these are people, a lot of these people are not even people of faith, but they understood the power of faith. So I'm saying to you, you don't need to know all the answers. If you've got this God-given dream inside of you, take the leap of faith, and I'm telling you, you will figure it all out. Your knowledge will come. You'll figure out how to do the video. If you want to set up a podcast, figure it out. I didn't know how to do a podcast. I had to ask the question. I didn't know how to do YouTube. I had to ask the question. I didn't know how to do all these things. I had to ask the question. How do you set up a website? How do you put a shop on your website? I've had to ask all the questions. I didn't know all this stuff. You learn. I didn't know how to run a multi-million-pound business. I had to learn. But if you don't take a leap of faith, you'll never learn. And you'll never have the success that you're looking for. I want to read you something. Page 86, so we're jumping quite far into the book now. Okay, so take a leap of faith, but we're going to read page 86 from the extracts. And I think this is a real powerful one for anyone who's starting down that dream and you're like, it's not happening for me, or face loads of trials. Brian writes this. He says, tribulation, or what we're calling disappointment, produces perseverance, and perseverance character. It's so easy to allow temporary disappointment to overrule God's given appointment. But don't do it. Take hold of the opportunity in front of you to produce in you a deep work, a sustaining harvest of patience and character and hope and love. The greater your character, the more God can pour into you. So many people take hold of God-given appointments with character and cannot sustain their roles. In the Bible, book of James, chapter 1, verse 4 says, let perseverance finish its work, so you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. We must allow God to teach us through our trials, tests, through our tribulations, to develop us through our disappointments, so that when the blessing comes, we are ready. Understand, if you're going to take a leap of faith, you're going to face tribulations, and those tribulations are not to destroy you. Those tribulations are so you have the character, so when the true success comes, you're ready. so many people get success and lose it. Look at the millionaires. How many people have, won money on the lottery? How many? Like, seriously, Google right now, how many lottery winners have had multi-millions in their bank only to be broke a couple of years later? Why? Because they didn't have the character. They didn't have the character, and because they didn't have the character, they weren't ready for the success. So God is going to use tribulations, or what you will call disappointment, to develop your character so you are ready for the success. Now we're going to start closing off. I want to read two things from page 224. Page 224. Let me just turn over there now. And 225. And I'll read some final things from Brian. And he says this: no matter what you experience, I want to say this to you. On the other side of triumph, there is more. On the other side of failure, there is more. On the other side of sickness, there is more. On the other side of the mountain, there is more. On the other side of heartache, there is more. On the other side of this earth, wow, this is a big one, there is more. Page 225, he says. So here's the challenge. Live with expectancy. Steep yourself in God's promises and travel the road of obedience to Christ with your eyes wide open to every facet of his faithfulness. Make room for others, make more space for God, and watch him make more of your dreams. The ones that you dare to pray, and the ones that you never have, that have never come to life. Understand, I really pray that you understand that there is more. I don't know where your life is right now. I don't know if you're steeped in debt. I don't know if your partner's just left you. I don't know if you're facing cancer right now. But I want to leave you with these words. There is more. There is more. There is more. And it doesn't matter if the whole world tells you that you can't. God says that you can. God says, I came to give you life, and life more abundantly. But the enemy comes to kill and destroy. Understand, this world doesn't want to see you succeed, but there's a God that does, and you were born to succeed. You were born to live big dreams, God-filled dreams. So this is the challenge. Go out there and live it. Go out there and live it. Go and purchase this book. Look, I don't get any commissions for this. I should do for these book reviews I'm going to start doing, but I just wanted to bless you. Listen, remember, those who read, lead. Those who read, lead. The strapline we always say, God's gift to us is life. What we do with that life is our gift back to God. God bless you. Thank you for joining us. Please, once again, we do this for free. We're not asking for anything. All I ask is for your comments. Share this video with someone who needs to start dreaming big again. Share this, subscribe, iTunes, SoundCloud, GenHopeTV on YouTube. God bless you, and we will see you soon for another #RealTalk. God bless you. Bye-bye.